Hello and welcome back to the Honest Lab Horror Show, the show that we bring to you each and every Friday night. Why we do this on a Friday night? Because Friday night is horror night. Welcome back, folks, and a happy new year. This is the first episode of the year. Obviously, we had Ty Shaman on last week, which was recorded just before the new year, but Ashley gets to be the first guest of the new year. So as you can see, it's not quite Ted, which is a usual face at this time. But this is actress and writer Ashley Hargrove. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
Not too bad. I wouldn't mind being where you are. That's some background.
I know it's nice and relaxing back there. So warm.
Yeah. Nice and windy, I'd say.
Just a tad. Better than the snow, though, right now.
Do you have snow?
No, we did a few weeks ago, and it's probably coming back up again. I will avoid it like the plague if possible.
See, we don't get snow all that often, so when it comes, it is nice. Now, every stupid fucker in the country can't drive when it happens over here. So
that's the same here. Yeah. They can't drive when the snow hits.
But sure. And then you get all the people that go in and panic buy everything because we don't get it like you would in the States. So everyone buys everything, and then you're like, you've stockpiled on like 600 rolls of toilet roll that you don't need for 2 days of snow.
Hopefully it was on discount.
Sure. It is what it is. But as I said, you're an actress and a writer. But before we jump into anything, I want to say thanks for taking time out of your day to come on. I know it's mid-evening, afternoon time. I know we had some technical difficulties earlier. We were supposed to record earlier, but appreciate you hanging on for the extra hour or so.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I know we connected on Facebook there recently. I seen you post a poster into the indie filmmakers group. Don't ask me how I'm in there, but I'm in there. But yeah, we've got quite a few cool guests out of that one. But it's a great place for people to promote their films and stuff in there. So before we jump into the film that you promoted in there, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the business?
So I'm an actor, a voiceover artist, a writer, and producer and filmmaker. And basically, several years ago, I started as a background extra. So that way I just kind of got my feet wet a little bit. I think it was the show Nashville I started on. But I really loved film stuff since I was a little kid and wanted to do it for years. So I started that for a while and then took a little break. And then when I came back after going to school for cybersecurity, I ended up going into film full time, and I took back on the writing work, and I also jumped into voiceover. So between the help with the agent, my PR manager, and stuff that I found on my own, I just finally had a chance. And then after a while, I was like, let's try to start making some films on top of it. Because I love writing and making like crazy characters sometimes come to life.
Nice. You said you're a voiceover. We haven't had many voiceover actors on the show before. We've had a few, but I always ask the same question: is voiceover work harder or easier?
It depends. If it's just like a basic commercial PSA, it's so easy. Cause boom, 30 seconds, you're done. But if it's doing like animations, that could be a little bit harder because you're trying to match the facial expressions of the characters that they're sending you. And some projects you may never see the image, so you just have to kind of picture it. And when I was mentioned earlier about the Paka Paka cartoon where I played Gertie, the alpaca, when I first found out about it, when I got the role, I was like, how do you voice an alpaca? I was like, how do you do this?
Is it a kid show?
It's geared towards kids, but adults have told me they have liked it because they said it's got humor in there that at least attracts the adults as well. I think it's kind of like in a way almost with humor, like Rugrats Doug style from the 90s and stuff. So it's a fun little show because there's moments where when I have to respond to my brother and I get frustrated with his character, and all of a sudden then I'm just like, I'm leaving. And there was even a scene, I won't give too much of a spoiler, where I suddenly sprout a second head. So I thought of Army of Darkness when I was trying to think how
Yeah,
to give that second head its own personality for the brief, like 10 seconds that other head is there. So the horror comedy helped a little bit there.
you could have just rang up Johnny Knoxville and asked him what he did for Men in Black 2.
Oh, yes, I remember he had the one out the backpack that always come up like, hey.
And it had the red neck zip.
Yep.
Yeah. I only remember that because I watched it yesterday.
I remember
Yeah.
that one. That was a fun one.
Yeah, it's a good one. The three of them are good. Didn't like the international one.
Yeah.
It was poor. But yeah, I did enjoy the Three Men in Blacks, but sure, that's for something else.
They're
I might
coming
try,
back with a fourth one.
so I'm led to believe. So I'm led to believe, and I'll watch the shit out of it. I mean, they're still making Bad Boys, so why not Men in Black?
I mean, and if I remember, they made a cartoon show for it too at one point.
They did, yeah. It was very fun. It was mostly based on the worms.
Oh
If I
yeah,
if
the little
if
worm
I
guys.
if I remember rightly, I'm pretty sure the worms were the characters in it.
Hey, those were fun guys. Gotta love those
Yeah.
little worms.
Do you know something? If Men in Black was made today, those worms are worth a fucking fortune. The same way when you look at Despicable Me and the Minions.
Banana. That's how I
Yeah,
always remember the Minions.
so they're nearly a billion quid uh, franchise.
Oh yeah, I think it's gone over $1 billion. So they've done quite well with them.
Yeah, not bad for a couple of yellow guys.
They love bananas and roller coasters and food.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And trouble, mischief.
And they idolize Gru.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the Despicable Me, and I thought the things with the Minion movies annoyed the shit out of me. Now I've been to see them all, but I'm just like no, one and done for me. The three Despicable Me's on the other hand, now them I'll watch with the kids. So
Yeah, where she screams, "It's so fluffy!"
yeah, that's my child all over. Actually, sorry, that's technically the two of them. They're he's obsessed with like fluffy blankets and teddies, and so is she. So
I mean, you can't blame them. Fluffy, comfy.
you see, for me, I'm extremely warm person in general. So anything like that, I'm like, no, it's too hot, it's too warm. So I'm just like, no, I'm out, I'm done.
You want the beach behind me for that warmness.
Yeah, for about 20 minutes, and then I'm like, no, there's sand here. I fucking hate sand.
I grew up on the same for a while, so it was definitely a different experience.
Yeah, no. So like I'm from a town in Ireland called Bray, which has probably one of the better beaches in Ireland. I fucking hate the beach. I hate it. Like when we go
I go
away,
for the seashells. I go for the seashells.
I don't go near the beach. It's got sand on it, and then people will be like, "Do you swim in the sea?" No, I do not. I
have a friend the same way. I have a friend the same way. They said they don't go in there and say what? They're like, that thing called a shark? I was like,
yeah.
Wow.
I seen Jaws. I seen what they can do.
His name was Bruce. I remember Jaws was nicknamed Bruce.
It was, yeah. It's funny because I actually showed my 9-year-old Jaws earlier on, or the back end of last year. So he's been asking to see Jaws. I don't know where it came from that he wanted to see it, and I was like, "You're not watching Jaws. Not a hope." Like I've watched Jurassic Park with him, and I've watched a couple other kind of classic ones with him. And he's like, "I want to watch Jaws," and I was like, "No." So a couple of weeks went by. I went into the bedroom, myself, the wife, and went in. We booked the cinema to go and see the cartoon Bad Guys 2.
Oh yeah.
So we booked to go and see that, right? And told them, and they were delighted with life because they loved the first one. So I walked in, just to annoy them, just to be an absolute prick on a Saturday morning. I walked in and I was like, "Oh, by the way, the cinema's cancelled. Bad Guys isn't working, so we're going to see Jaws." Right, fully expecting a meltdown, right? And he was like, "Yes."
And
Great.
you're like,
And I
oh
was like,
crap.
right. And he's like, look what I have. So he's playing, the game Roblox.
Yep.
He's playing Roblox and he's running a cinema in the game. And up on the wall is the Jaws poster in 8-bit, whatever it is in Roblox.
I gotta
And
give the kid props for that.
I went into to my missus and said it to her, and she's like, do you think he should watch it? And I was like, no, he definitely should not watch it. So
Don't let him see Deep Blue Sea.
later on, well, that's got Saffron Burrows in it. That's got a whole different ball game. But later on that day when we went to the cinema, we got there probably 15 minutes early. So we had to sit there, and at the bench we were sitting, it had the 50th anniversary Jaws poster behind us, telling us that it was coming to the cinema. And I said to Zoe, I says, look behind you there. And she was like, oh, it must be fate to watch it. Let him watch it. So the following weekend, we were sitting there and I put it on for him. Now, he's got autism and he's got ADHD. So when he's watching movies, he's watching it. But so like he'll be up walking around or he'll be scooting around the floor or whatever. For 2 hours and 9 minutes of watching Jaws, he sat in that sofa and did not move.
I forgot that movie was that long.
2 hours, 9 minutes, he did not move once. Oh, sorry, he did. There was fireworks going off, so I paused the movie, so we walked out to watch the fireworks. Don't know why there was fireworks going on, but there was. And for 2 hours and 9 minutes, he sat there and he was glued to that screen. I have a video recording of him when Quint dies, and he literally about a minute beforehand, I knew it was coming, so I started the video. And he's like, "So, is it only 6 people that have died in this movie?" And I was like, "Yeah, only the 6." And then Quint dies. He looks at me. He's like, "Why didn't you tell me he was going to die?" And I was like, "Why would I ruin the movie for you?"
I take it that was one of his favorite characters, then most likely.
It was, yeah.
Just like not
he
fair,
wasn't.
man.
He was not happy. He was not happy. But no, it's just a fantastic movie, and like it was great to watch it with him. So he experienced. He's probably still too young to actually fully understand most of it, but like he's that more advanced than I was when I watched Jaws at that age. So because I never copped like the boat name being the Orca, and he's like, that boat's definitely called the Orca because they hunt great whites. And I was like, well, that's probably definitely why they call it that. But at that age when I watched it, I wouldn't have known that.
I think the first time I watched it, I was actually living in Florida at the time. I was a Navy kid. So when I saw it there, I was like, we're near the beach. That thing's there. I was like, that's not a fun combination.
You go in the water, sharks in the water. No, thank you.
I think for a while, it was like after I watched Child's Play for the first time, I'm like always looking around, like, is there a shark? Child's Play, I was looking for a doll running around my room somewhere at night.
I don't like them movies.
I saw the Child's Play movie by accident for the first time when I was like 4 years old. It was either on VHS or my parents had HBO when, HBO had first been around just a few years. And after that, we locked our dolls up in the closet for a month after watching that by accident.
Nice. Yeah, I know a lot of people when it came out let their kids go and see it.
My parents were like, nope.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was one of the later ones that I watched. I wasn't sold on it.
Now, I ended up meeting Chris is it pronounced Sarandon or Sarandon? I always mix it up. Sarandon. I met him once years ago at a convention. Really nice guy. So it was so different seeing him from his Detective Mike mode, and just being at the convention in a blue jean jacket, so nice and calm, just relaxed, happy. He's just like, hey.
He was at a convention that we went to a couple of years ago in Manchester. It was just after COVID, and he had his mask on and stuff. And like, I was just like, I was gonna get a picture with him. But I was told then the picture he keeps the mask on. I was like, no.
That was similar to when I met Will Shatner. They had the giant plastic divider between everybody for their pictures. So you had to stand like 3 feet away at the same time. I was like, that's a little strange picture.
Yeah, I suppose though for those older actors and actresses as well, it was safety.
Yeah, so, and it was understandable, but it was still.
Yeah, you're paying. Some people charge you a small fortune and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
But like that, obviously it's their own thing, and I don't knock anyone for doing it. But yeah, I was like, no. I think because I would have met him. I love Fright Night.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the sharp teeth of the vampire.
yeah. Which is actually a good way of working into the movie in question that we were talking about that I seen you advertising, which were very kindly sent me a screener to watch because obviously it's out later on this year. Is it?
Yep, should be in the next couple weeks. It's
Nice,
getting ready,
nice.
so it's getting very close. But we
So
got to we got to premiere it in theaters, so that was pretty cool.
oh, nice. I'd say it was weird though seeing yourself on the big screen, was it?
I think it was a couple of times, because especially my husband was there at the event, so him just looking like this, watching his wife on a screen, just like, yeah, that's different.
Yeah, I don't know how it feels. I know obviously it's only acting, but like I don't think I'd be able to sit there and watch my wife do what happens in that movie um,
Well,
on screen.
the cool part is my fake husband in that film. Him and I are friends, and we worked on another film together, so we were very comfortable with each other. And one of the biggest things I teach people when you go into acting, that if you are married or have a partner, if you ever have kiss scenes of any kind, just always make sure your partner's on board, of course, before you do those. If not, they're you know.
Yeah, and obviously I know it's only acting and whatnot. I know it might be different, obviously, if my wife was an actress or whatever. But for just to think about it, it'd be just weird to see it on screen. Do you know that kind of way?
And there's always that bullet too. When he was next to me, I was like this, like, yep.
Don't
And then
look,
I
don't look,
turned the
don't
other
look,
way
don't look.
during one of them, like this, just like, yep, no, no.
Now, bearing in mind, I always say this when I'm talking to certain people, and there's obviously intimate scenes in movies. They, I'm not always sold on. Obviously, gratuitous nudity doesn't need to be in every film. I'm kind of against, and like people will slate you for it, and I'm like, I'm kind of against it when it's just shoehorned in just to have someone half naked or naked in the film when it's not needed.
I'm the same. So that's why when anyone watches Marriage Bites, like, as you noticed, there was no nudity in there at all. We made it because that was one of the biggest things. I was like, yeah, they're a married couple. I'm like, but we don't need to shove it down their throats, of everything. It's like they just
Yeah.
need the gist they're married, and that's it.
Like I don't know about anybody else, but like most married couples don't walk around stark naked all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Now, I might, but I'm not stark naked. I usually have a pair of shorts on. But like very rare, like if you came to my house on a random time and walked in, I'm 100% sitting there with no t-shirt on and a pair of shorts, probably most likely.
I'd probably be in lounge clothes or jeans, and that's about it. Normal stuff. That's normal lounge clothes.
Yeah, like as I said to you, like I'm a quite a warm person anyway, so it's very rare if I'm sitting there with a t-shirt and all on, fully dressed, and I'm just like, yeah, Grant, whatever, I don't care.
But I think that shocked a few people is that this one we didn't have any nudity in it, and I think some people were like, "But it's got horror. You got to have that." I was like, "No, not always." I said it just didn't really. It wasn't needed in ours.
Like I always go back to it when people ask me about it, and when I bring up that point, like Wrong Turn is one of my all-time favorite horror films. I don't know whether you've ever seen it. It's
I
a
don't think so.
it's a 2003 movie directed by Rob Schmidt. Has Elijah Dushku and Desmond Harrington in it. It's about people that get in a car crash on a back mountain road in West Virginia, and they're getting hunted by like hillbilly families. But
Oh,
it has no nudity in it, and like I do, but I always go back to that. And I was like, it's not needed.
yeah.
Like, could he have got Elijah Dushku to get naked? Probably. Now I don't know whether she would have done it or not, but he could have got one of the cast to do it, but he didn't need to do it. So I mean, it doesn't fit
And
the mold of the film.
and I think that was the same with Marriage Bites. It just
Yeah.
would not have fit doing that.
Like maybe the first morning after,
Oh,
maybe
you know what I'm saying? Yep.
that might have been the only time it could have fit really.
Yep.
And even then, it wasn't needed.
Yeah, it's just the film we wanted to just focus more of, like, hey, they might be married, but their marriage is about to go to hell, basically, from, him now being a fresh vampire, and this is
Yeah,
how they're gonna have to survive.
it's just dawned on me that I hadn't actually introduced the film. So the film's name is Marriage Bites. So you can forget about that last 2 minutes of random about nudity in films. Marriage Bites was the film that I seen you advertising. And like a lot of people know me, I'm quite a big comedy horror person, and I think when they're done right, they're brilliant. Obviously, you got Shaun of the Dead, Lesbian Vampire Killers, things like that. I love all those. So I thought this might have been right up my alleyway. Now, I also then sat there and I was like, this definitely isn't going to be my kind of film. And I said that to you off screen. I was like, I'm not sure it was going to be my type. I really enjoyed the comedy in it. I enjoyed the story. The acting was good. The cinematography was brilliant. Um, it was an all round very enjoyable movie for me, and it's one that you could just sit there, put it on, sit there, and just chill out and relax and enjoy the madness that happens with it.
That I think that was the fun part, is like we wanted the beginning to just kind of give that slow, gentle start, then also just slam you into all the chaos of what now happens.
Like obviously, I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to give spoilers away because it's not out yet. Um, but there is something I need to ask you off screen actually as to an incident in the film. And no, I won't. I won't do it here just in case. Well, actually, no. You said that the husband becomes a vampire anyway. It's not a hidden
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah, that was the main premise of the film. So basically, you've got Martin and Linda, that's this married couple where their marriage is going stale, and all of a sudden he is bitten by a vampire. And they're now trying to figure out how to not only save the marriage, but protect their town from the undead or people becoming vampires or dying off, because it's just suddenly it goes crazy from him becoming this fresh vampire. And what made it more fun is part of the premise of the synopsis was him testing social media theories, which is a bad idea, as you saw, if you try to just test any random theories you see out there.
I did like that play on the social media thing where people do the stupid trends and stuff. Remember, planking was a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought that was a fun edge to it when I was writing the script originally. I was like, we gotta have it messed up, or people are testing these social media theories, and we'll have some that'll be, actually real vampire theories, and then some that just turns out to be completely bogus.
the bat. That was a good one. No, but the thing I have in mind then, right? Obviously, because we've now said that the husband is the vampire and it's not a hidden fact. One issue I have with it was why couldn't he go into his own house?
There, I looked up the old theory actually during some research. I know it's silly, but when I was first writing, I did vampire research. And one of the original theories is that you can't invite a vampire in. A vampire can't just go into a house.
Yeah.
And for this one, I decided to twist it a little bit, like even though it's his own place, because he was made a vampire outside the house and there's still humans inside, it forced him to have to ask for that permission. So that's why I twisted it a little bit.
Right. So it's not something that you just kind of came out with. There's an idea behind it. Because I was watching it and I was like, but surely he could just walk into his own house.
But yeah,
Because
it's just because the minute, and it's like the one part. This one's not giving away too much. When Linda's on the phone, all of a sudden, and you hear her scream, "Yes, you may come in."
yeah,
That's
that
the
one I got
same.
that.
She was, yeah,
Yeah, I figured you were going off the same run with that one.
yeah.
But which I like the continuity to it. Because obviously if you've gone with a way and it works, you stuck with it. But yeah, there was one of the one things I just did. I narrowed it down that I was just kind of like, why, how? But that's a fair answer. You put your own spin on it, which is fine. Um, obviously it's not the normal one that we would get because obviously if that's the case, then the likes of Dracula doesn't have a castle.
Well, and it's crazy. Like when I did the vampire research, there were so many different theories out there from the past several hundreds of years. And like they even talked about how they couldn't be seen with the, like if you take a picture with a regular camera, but they could be seen with like a cell phone camera. They even showed about the differences of being mirror reflections, no reflections. differences with, some would count garlic. Like there were so many crazy different theories that I was finding, not just the old school ones. So going through that huge list of theories, I was like, all right, we'll keep like a nice stack of them that everyone recognizes, and then we'll, like you said, we'll put a spin on a couple other ones just to make it more interesting.
Fair enough. Well, like that's a good explanation to it. Like as I said, it was something I picked up on. I was like, why is that happening? But it's a fair answer. You put your own spin on it, which is fine. And that clears up that bit. So there wasn't much in this movie where I went, oh, I need to ask about that. I need to ask about that.
That's the good part. That was one of the things when anytime we'd film a scene, we'd go back through the script, everyone together, like, okay, could you do this? Did you remember to do this? And the small spoilers, it literally goes over a 2-day timeline. So the amount of clothing changes Linda goes through, I had to constantly remember which hour she was on to go back to that other outfit if we ever had to film those scenes out of order.
Nice, nice. A tough time in that way, but it all looked well to me. Now it seemed to just fit in.
And the crazy part was like the ring pops theory. We shoved that in there. So apparently vampires like ring pops. And I saw that idea a little bit at one point because they actually had it on a candy package, believe it or not, of vampires holding ring pops. So I reached out to the actual candy company behind ring pops and asked them if we could have permission to use them. And they agreed and sent us a bunch of ring pops. And then there was a sunblock company where the same thing. I was like, hey, vampires might need sunblock to survive. You never know. So they sent us all the sunblock for the film as well to see if that would match a vampire theory.
Nice. I did notice when you were getting the ring pops, I seen the brand juice drops.
Yeah, that's part of their brand. They had several different stuff they allowed us to use. They even sent us push pops as well.
It's funny because I actually bought it for the kids there on Thursday. I bought them a box of the juice drops, the one with the gel and the sweets.
We went through a lot of ring pops and juice drops on set for the scenes. We were constantly going through them.
Nice, nice. It's a nice touch to get them though, where you didn't have to buy them yourself.
No, I reached out to them and they said, yeah, they're like, we can send you some stuff. I was like, okay.
Is it free? Yes. Then I'll take it.
That was me. I was like, oh. And the marketing company behind it, they sent me a list actually of all the products they manage. And there was a couple I really wanted, but I knew those I would have to pay for. Like they had like a Caterpillar tractor on their list. And I think like Modelo beer was on it and some type of sports car. And I was just like, I'm going to go with those aren't free.
You're going to send me a car?
I'll be like, I could use that in the film. Vampires can drive.
And then I get to keep it, right?
I would have been hopeful.
No, I did. No, I will say juice drops do quite a nice range over here. So I was like, oh, I must show that to Finn tomorrow. He's mad when he loves seeing stuff that he eats and things. Like we're watching Stranger Things at the minute with him. So his new big thing is Eggos.
Lego by Eggo.
No, well, I actually don't know what Eggos are, but over here we just buy toaster waffles and tell them that they're Eggos.
I grew up on Eggos. Can't help it.
Yeah, I don't know what they are, so
toaster waffles.
Oh yeah, so that's what they are then. Okay, great.
Yep, they're toaster waffles. Same thing.
So I'm not lying to him.
Nope, I actually have a box in the freezer right now.
Oh no, air ones aren't frozen. They're fresh. They're not fresh, but they're like packaged.
Yep, so they'll be like a 10 or 12 to a pack normally, and they'll come in like the yellow box. You'll see the drawing of or picture of a egg on the front.
Yeah, no, the air ones just come in clear wrapping, and there's 8 of them in a packet, but they're packed 2 to a packet.
Okay.
So
that's the standard, yeah.
They love having them in the mornings for breakfast or whatever.
It's quick, it's easy, and it's flavorful.
Yeah, and it means he doesn't kick off in the mornings as well, which is fun. So sometimes he wants cereal, sometimes he doesn't, and I'm like, I can't send him to school with no cereal.
Just give him the little juicy drop thing.
Yeah, load them up with sugar and send them into school and hope for the best.
That's the best part. They're over there for the day.
That's it. You counteract that ADHD medication he has. So no, but yeah, that's what he's obsessed with now at the minute. So that's who you should have got.
But so yeah, we got to sneak in a lot of different little food products throughout the film and stuff. So I think that was kind of fun. And even in the bathroom scene, we had a couple of products snuck into there as well that we were granted permission. Which that the bathroom scene was pretty fun to film. We actually put our lead guy Martin into a green suit, so that's how he did. And that's just tiny spoiler, guys. That's how we did the toothbrush scene that you got to see. We had him film first in the green suit, and then we took him out of the green suit, so that way they merged it together, and that's how we did the toothbrush trick.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. And those green suits are pretty cheap. They're like $20-30. So because we try to keep a lot of the effects in the film as practical as possible. We used to look, like, yeah, it's more fun, try to get as, see how gooey and fun you could do. Although here and there you may catch like a little bit of CGI, but overall we try to keep everything just as actual practical. Like they made like the meats and stuff on the counters you saw, and any of the kill scenes, our lady Tara, she was, making a lot of the items and stuff. And so it was really different getting to see those, have how they did a lot of those.
And then in terms of when you were marketing this movie, obviously, because we only connected recently, was there an Indiegogo or something for this?
There was a mix of things. I had some companies that did some sponsors for us, and we had regular donors, and we raised some funds in, and then we did a little bit of Indiegogo as well, and a couple investors. So we mixed a lot of it all together. But originally, the Indiegogo was one of the main ways we raised money for it.
Nice. It's just because I hadn't, like, normally I see a lot of the Indiegogo stuff go up from people on those pages that I seen it on. I hadn't heard of it, so, or maybe I did and I just didn't pay any attention to it.
It was probably a hit or miss because I was one of the newer filmmakers coming out at that time. So I think it was once that started filming is when some people started getting traction. And part of it was probably because I was also on some other indie horror films, and some of those actors came with us from those to work on Marriage Bites. Like you'd seen like James DeBell in there, Robert Lasardo, Darren Ewing. I had worked with them on Skate to Hell, another horror comedy, and that's how I met some of them originally.
Skate to Hell. Who was in that I was talking to?
A bunch of people. Mason Reese, Robert Lasardo, James DeVell, Darren Ewing, Joseph Poliquin, Spencer Breslin, Robert Carradine.
Are you just naming these off the top of your head?
Yep. There, Sean C. Phillips, Nicole Butler, Lance Michael Weller, Kellen Duru. There was a bunch of people in there.
Yeah, I know who it was. I think I started the conversation with Elizabeth Chamberlain.
Yep, she was in it. Eric Roberts, Todd Bridges, Eileen Dietz,
Jenna Jameson.
Yep. That was a pretty extensive list. I think there was like 198 people in it.
Fuck me. Yeah, no, I think I was talking to her dad. I think he added me on one of the socials or along the lines. We were trying to line it up, but just everything kind of fell in the way. But we'll get there this year. We'll get there this year. Yeah, that has an extensive cast.
Yeah, they were cool though.
I'm looking forward to that one. I didn't actually realize you were in that.
I play a nun. I do. I show up as a nun. And the crazy part of that is I actually played a nun in an earlier film where I had actually been trained by a former nun for 2 months straight while I was working on the novitiate. The lady had been married to a church for 40 years, and she got divorced and ended up marrying this guy. And we were on that movie for 2 months straight, and they brought on a technical advisor to teach us for 2 months of how to act like a real nun from the 1960s. So she was there to show us how to walk, how to talk, how to move our hands, everything. And so when I ended up on that film and I told them, they're like, "You played a nun?" I was like, "Yeah." So it transitioned right into the other film, playing a nun again. I was able to use the same training.
Could have just called Bonnie Aaron's. Different kind of nun, but a nun and the same. Yeah, like as I said, with Marriage Bites, as I said, I didn't expect too much from it. Really, really enjoyed it. It's definitely one that I go back to again.
Thank you.
It was very fun. Now I know you mentioned there's one that's on Amazon Prime, Caroline of Mine. I haven't had a chance to get that checked out yet. The
That
movie.
is one of my earliest projects. It is what we like to call like lifetime cheesy drama style. And that one was very loosely based off a true story, at least the first half of the film is, where this woman gets in a relationship with a professor. And at one point, they actually run away together when her family gets involved, even though she's an adult age. And it causes a lot of consequences for her family over several years. So it was a different thing for me to try doing drama.
I'm just looking at it. Yourself, Joe,
Joe
and
Camaro,
yeah, and Ava are all in it.
Win Reichert, he also pops up in Marriage Bites briefly as Mr. Relic. That's how you probably remember him, as a guy that helps with the
Oh
coffin
yeah.
at one point. I've
Oh
known
yeah.
him for years. I've known him for years. We first met each other on a set where we had to do a fake Bible study, and he was a very messed up pastor in that scene. So that's how we originally met.
Nice.
And
Nice.
then
So
Ava, I met her years ago when she was about 8 years old. She played a younger version of me on an older project. So that was different getting her to actually play my daughter this time. And she's a fun teenager. She can be sarcastic and keep up with all the adults when it comes to improv. She will be throwing things at you, and you're just like, you're going to drive
so
me nuts.
she's only 16 or 17, is she? Well, she's the same birthday
She
as I do.
she just turned 16, if I remember correctly.
She has the same birthday I do.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. And then Grayson Thorne Kilpatrick, he's also in Marriage Bites. He wasn't in Caroline of Mine, but so we got to have a lot of change up, and then we have the sequel coming, and then some Christmas projects, and then a fun, very sarcastic horror comedy about a Grim Reaper. So that's going to be a definitely different twist on people.
Oh, nice. You don't see a lot of Grim Reaper movies. He obviously
I
appears
you
in movies, but
you don't. And the one I can tell you about is called Here to Collect. Basically, this woman is about to die, and the Grim Reaper is there to collect her, but he makes a deal with her. He tells her, if you help me collect your husband's soul and four other people that are with him, I'll let you live. And she's the type of that, just couldn't kill anybody, but then she instantly starts to love the kill and trying to even kill off her own husband. And that part won't spoil the film because that's actually in the synopsis itself. So it becomes this crazy twisted drama or comedy, where her and the Grim Reaper are now competing against each other. They hate each other, but at the same time, they love that kill. So it's who's going to get the husband's soul first at this rate.
oh, nice. So it's the Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean effect.
Yep, and they got to make the kills twisted. They can't just, do a basic slasher kill. They have to get creative and kind of make it in a way almost like a Final Destination setup in a way.
Nice. So has that been filmed? No.
Not yet, but it's on our roster to get done. And the catch for the film at the very end is if she doesn't have that husband's soul in time, the Grim Reaper gets to get her soul. So it's a race to see who's going to live, who's going to die.
A
Because,
soul for
both
a
of them
soul.
can't. Yep. So it's like, would you be
Nice.
willing
No,
to give up your spouse to live?
no, because she'd probably kill me and come back and haunt me.
She said the Grim Reaper after you, right?
Yeah, you gonna get that some bitch right now. Right, so I can kill him. um, no, so that sounds very interesting. Obviously, I just said there that there's not very many Grim Reaper movies, so I'm very intrigued with that one. And that's gonna be a horror comedy as well, is it?
Yeah. There's a regular horror piece on my list as well coming up, but the horror comedy, I think the Grim Reaper is going to be really a fun one to try. Because the part that I love doing with Marriage Bites, it'll probably be the same with the Grim River one, is I found a way to incorporate several puns, as you notice, that match those type of creatures. We
Yeah.
definitely shoved them into Marriage Bites and tried to twist them as much as we could.
How's her appetite? Does it suck?
Or the
How's it
fair one
going?
that got everybody, nobody can eat or suck on my wife but me. And they're just like, what? I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that sounded wrong.
I did like that one. That was a funny one, all right.
And then we had
Um,
we had a stunt coordinator with us as well to do some of the stunts in the film. And I did stunts for several years. I'm also in trampoline gymnastics. And then I also did kickboxing for 5 years. So that kind of helped in some of the running scenes.
yeah, good luck with that. You should have kicked someone square in the head. That would have been funny.
There was two fighters in that real fast clip. They were actually both. They had done stunt fighting before, so we gave them the chance to that hit or miss, that little flash clip where they actually were trying to hit each other in that one fight scene.
Nice. No, you should have. So just out of the ordinary, just kick someone square in the chin.
And just be like, ooh, reflex.
Yeah. But I will say now, I quite enjoyed the twist on the vampires and how it went down in the film. It was a very fun idea, and like obviously I mentioned one earlier that was like lesbian vampire killers was quite a fun one with the lads that done Gavin and Stacey, James Corden, and the other guy whose name I can't remember.
Yeah,
Uh,
I wanted a twist on vampires, because you're so used to seeing either straight horror or you see where they're instantly in love with the vampire and they're just like, oh.
that kind of happens though.
To a degree, but we kicked it up a notch though to make sure.
Yeah. So when just touching on vampires, what did you think of the two big ones from last year in
Oh, how do I say that?
Nosferatu and
Pronounce that.
Sinners?
The one about what was it, Abigail, where she was the girl ballerina vampire,
No,
the
no,
little
that
girl
that
that
was
gets
brilliant as
kidnapped.
well.
The other one, if I
that
can
was
never pronounce it, no, no, I'm terrible at pronouncing it.
not Nosferatu.
Yes, I could never say it. I blame my speech impediment when it kicks in. I'll be sitting there like, what's that word again? That was intriguing. I love the gothic design that they did with the imagery. The movie felt a little long in some areas, but I just love the imagery that they had to it.
I said that as well. It was. I don't think you could have got a better director than Robert Eggers to do a period drama horror piece like that. Um, and the slow build. I just think would it been a remake of Nosferatu? It was closer to the '92 Dracula, the Gary Oldman Dracula, than it
Gary
was.
Oldman.
Yeah, it was closer to the Gary Oldman Dracula than it was to Nosferatu. I thought Bill Skarsgård was phenomenal. Lily Rose Depp was brilliant. Aaron Taylor Johnson, Willem Dafoe. The list was
The, the,
endless.
the, the part though is like, man, that had been some power he had on her. Because when I saw him, I was like, I wouldn't have been fawning, man. I'd be like, gone.
The mustache was glorious.
The mustache is just like, oh.
When I watched it first, I was watching it with my wife here, and she was like, "Do you want to go and sit in the cinema?" And I was like, "It's gonna be 2.5 hours, and it's gonna be slow, and it's not gonna be an easy watch." So I'd say it's gonna look fantastic because obviously it's the way he does his style. And she was like, "Okay, we'll wait for it to come out." So didn't see anything at all about it, and I was watching it, and she looked over at me after half an hour when you see him for the first time, and she's like, what's going on? And I was like, why has he got a mustache? I was like, why has he got a full on 80s porn star mustache? And she was
This is
like,
what makes him
why?
attractive.
She was like, why is that bothering you? And I was like, honestly, I don't know why it's bothering me, but it's bothering me. And then by the end of it, that's a glorious mustache. And if I liked having, like, I have a beard all the time. like all the time. But if I liked having a mustache, I'd grow a mustache like that.
Just make the long way.
Yeah.
What was the longest mustache on record? I heard it was like 15 feet or something at one point. It was one in the 1800s.
Best of luck with that. I barely
Imagine
let
trying
mine
to
get
comb
past this.
that.
I barely let mine get past this length, and then I usually trim it off, and then I look Amish. But
You wouldn't want that the vampire one. You wouldn't want that long one with the little curl and everything.
no, no thanks.
He's
No,
like, nope, we're
it,
good.
it, it keeps going in my mouth when I'm eating food. Like my beard can be as long as it wants because it's not going to get in the way. But the mustache comes down over my lips, and I'm like, no.
It's like I'm not going the regular way. We're going this way.
Yeah, mine goes down. It comes out and then goes down. And I'm like, good lord. So, yeah, no, I thought Nosferatu was brilliant, and I can fully see why it's probably going to clean up in some categories, probably. Or why it did clean up in categories in the Oscars and stuff.
It was good. Just like I said, the imagery was gorgeous. The locations were just. I wish it'd been just a little bit shorter because, like you said, it's that slow build where you just like, come on, come on.
It was definitely you could cut maybe 20-25 minutes out of that, and you wouldn't have lost too much.
We have similar. Our film was originally like 2 hours and 20 minutes on the first cut, and I was like, we got to cut that way down.
You got to get chopped the fuck up.
Yeah, and someone asked why. I said your average horror comedy is an hour and 30 minutes to about an hour and 45 minutes. I said horror comedies, most people don't want to sit through 2.5 hours worth of it. So yeah,
No.
we definitely had a lot of scenes we had to kick out.
Nice. The and then the obviously the other big movie from last year was Sinners.
Yes, I remember that one. A little
Sinners was
twist on the
fantastic.
vampires.
Was it though? Was it not just
Well,
from
I
dusk till
think it had
dawn?
a I think it had a little. It was a combination where I felt like it was a little bit of, from dusk till dawn with the major scene, but the twist I think for me was seeing the vampires several years later. You know, whichever few made it through without giving the spoiler for those that haven't seen that one yet,
It's
and
over
that
a
was the
year
other
old.
part.
It's nearly a year old at
Oh
this
god!
stage. So
But
yeah.
yeah, seeing them suddenly like 60 years later, I was like, oh, okay.
I so obviously I knew it was a vampire film, because they showed it in the clips over here, which was disappointing because if I watched that and didn't know it was a vampire film, I probably would have loved it even more. Um, I sat and I watched it again with herself, like her best mate texted her and was like, "You need to see this movie," and I knew I
That
wanted to
that
see it anyway.
that one lady character though ticked all of us off in the theater was the one that when they told everyone you don't want to invite them in, don't invite them in, she goes and invites them in, and I'm just like, I they killed your
Oh,
family, and yet you're just like, come on in.
the
Like,
Chinese
really,
lady.
lady? Yeah, I was like, all of us
Yeah.
in the theater were screaming at her like, we hate you, we hate you.
The I'll tell you what though, when I was watching it and obviously the cast runs down and you see Delroy Lindo and then you see Omari Epps, I turned around to my missus and I was like, he's not going to be all right in this movie. She's like, what you mean? I was like, he's not going to be all right. And she's like, I don't even know who he is. And I was like, you know the big guy from 8 Mile? And I was like, she was like, yeah. And I was like, him. And then you see him picking cotton in the fields. I was like, oh, he definitely not going to be okay.
It's like he gone.
But I will say, I love the lore they put on it, where you seen the Indians chasing them down, Jack O'Connell down, and then that whole scene in the house was just phenomenal.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
remember that scene.
Jack O'Connell as the main bad guy, as Remick, was just like that alone. I think was Oscar worthy as best villain.
And he's just sitting out there at one point, just calmly singing, just singing away.
That song that the three of them sing to try and get into the club to pick poor Robin clean, I was like, that's just fucking awesome. But yeah, I love that the lads were just like, we just want to play music, and they're like, we're still not inviting you in.
It's like we'll play it out here then. We'll wait.
Yeah. But and then they draw them out and whatnot. But it was brilliant. And then when Omari Epps comes back to the door and he's like, "You gonna let me in?" And they're like, "You could just come in." And you're like, "No, I'm not falling for that."
He's just like, come on.
Michael B. Jordan was brilliant as well.
Yeah, playing the two different characters.
Yeah, like obviously we've seen that a few times in films. Obviously, Tom Hardy done it for Legend. I don't know if you've seen that.
It's been a while.
As the Cray twins, he was brilliant in that. But like I don't know, they didn't really need to do him twice. But apparently, I was listening to an interview and he said that he played both characters because he wanted to be in the music scene.
Like I want that one scene.
Like, yeah, that Rocky Road to Dublin scene was brilliant.
Yeah. It making all the different vampires is kind of reminds me of like Marriage Bites as well, where we were trying to make sure all the vampires had different personalities so you could really tell the bulk of them all apart.
Yeah, I kind of got that. Like you got the richer people that were entitled
then you had
to do what they wanted. Then you had just the neighbors. And then you had the teacher. The teacher was cool. Well, yeah, it was a strange one, but it was cool when you see it. I don't want to say it on screen. I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. But obviously the way he is a vampire was pretty cool.
And then the way he reveals it to him, like, oh yeah, this is how you know.
Yeah. But really, really enjoyable film overall. Especially I think it's even better for me when I go into something not expecting anything. And that's the way I tend to go into films now anyway, where I'll go in and be like, oh, this is going to be awful, or I'm not going to think too much of it. Because then a lot of the time now when I go into films, even in the cinema, and I'm like so hyped for it, and I come out and I'm like, oh, okay. That was a letdown. So now I go into films, and like Scream is probably the next film I'll see in the cinema.
February, I think it says it comes out, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, February 23rd, I think it is.
So it's not too far off.
Yeah, I stand to be corrected on that, but I'm pretty sure it's something in and around there. But I'll be in the cinema front row. Well, not front row, back row. Because I won't wait a day or two because I know it'll get ruined.
Oh yeah, that always happens within the first day. Somebody's got it posted online already from their articles. Like, all right, let's do the breakdown. It's like, why?
Oh my God, Stu Macher is back. As if we didn't know that anyway. But
they've been, I remember for months now, they've been saying, yeah, you'll see Stu again, you'll see Dave Arquette again, and I'm like, you're telling me all these ones are going to show up somehow, and this is like, thanks.
Yeah, like I know the fact that they've announced, obviously David Arquette, they've announced Stu. We've obviously had Skeet over the last two anyway. Hayden Panettiere's back. Obviously she was in the last one anyway, so but everyone's obviously going, well, where's Jill Roberts? Where's Mikey Madsen, who played Amber? And I'm like, if they're bringing everyone back, they're going full ham, and you're going to see some random surprises in there. They're not going to announce everybody. Like I don't think they were ever planning on announcing Stu coming back. They were just going to bring him in, but the whole Spyglass and Melissa Barrera thing, they had to do something.
Yeah, because they were trying to get that new generation in and stuff with it. So after that, it's like, well, if Sydney's coming back now, they're like, yeah, we'll bring Stu too.
I'm going to be a bold statement here, and I hope she dies in this film.
It's like she's made it this long. It's kind of like, in a way, if you remember Nightmare on Elm Street, Nancy, dies in the third film. That threw me off when she came back to die off. I was like, dang.
Yeah, but like that needed to happen because people kicked up. Like obviously, I wasn't born when Nightmare on Elm Street came out, so Nightmare on Elm Street is my favorite.
Same.
Nightmare on Elm Street 1 is my favorite horror film of all time, right? And like I have a big Freddy tattoo on my arm.
Oh, that's cool.
And like you go into my hallway, there's a lot of horror stuff, but there's like 4 or 5 different Freddy things. I've even got the Freddy glove here, the other way
Oh,
around.
that's cool. My
Um,
husband can't survive horror. If it's pure horror, he can't watch it. He said, I think he says because like the grossness of it for him or something just gets to him.
I
So when
get that too.
so whenever I work on a horror project, whether it's one of my own or some of the other ones I've done, where the other ones I've been working on that weren't mine, they've got some extreme horror in those. So those, whenever he's like, okay, what's something new I got to watch here, his wife, I'm like, you can't watch this one because you're gonna have to close your eyes here, here, and here. It's
So
like
I'm
that
here,
basically
yeah,
too.
I'm here.
It's like that will
Um,
be good.
but in regards to that Nightmare on Elm Street, like everyone that goes on about, oh, she's one of the best final girls, she's not really. And that's no offense to the character itself or how they were played, but there's far better. And I think the way the franchise went, they needed to just reset it almost every time.
Yeah,
And they've done
and
a great job. They've done a great job reintegrating her in Tree and how they've done it. But they obviously were never going to be a plan to keep her back because it would have took away from Patricia Arquette, who obviously then disappeared for the next one anyway because she was pregnant. So they cast Tuesday Night.
yeah,
Um,
and then I remember that the change that frustrated me a little bit, but I understood. I was like, well, they had to. But I think
they
killing her
couldn't, they
off
couldn't
was
do that.
the killing off was the bad part.
I think that that pregnancy kind of fucked up everything. I think there was a big plan to go with her because she was
There
brilliant
was
in Tree.
there was from what I was reading, like in another article or something or an interview she did, where the storyline would have continued with her at that point.
Yeah. Although I didn't like that they didn't bring her back for New Nightmare.
Oh yeah, where
Um,
they brought several of the actors back to insert Freddy into their real lives.
that was brilliant. That was one of the first meta ones, really, that done that. I thought that was fantastic. I know it gets a lot of hate because thing, but I really enjoyed that one. I think that's the third best one in the franchise.
I thought that was a good twist the way they did that.
Yeah, and then obviously
Although
we've
it
seen it
was
loads of times since.
although it was still funny seeing Robert England play a female nurse version of himself in one of the nightmares, and then he
Then
suddenly
five,
turns into Freddy. I stopped when I
yeah,
first saw that. I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, why does that nurse look familiar? I kept staring. I was like, oh, I was like, that's Freddy.
he turns around and starts laughing. Yeah,
I was
I'm
like,
pretty
I
sure it's five. I'm
recognized him.
pretty sure it's five when she's pregnant.
I think I think so.
And then
Yeah, pretty sure it's number
there's
5.
obviously they done the nurse scene in 4 where they had the really attractive nurse catch the
Oh,
guy who doesn't speak
number
in
3.
3.
Number 3.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they done it again. They used Robert to do it, and I was like, genius, genius. Um, that was I think it was the Rennie Harlan one. Was it? Yeah, I think 5 was the Rennie Harlan one.
I think so. Because
There's two.
I remember meeting Lisa Wilcox. I remember meeting her at one point. Yeah, I know 5 was the one where it was called The Dream Child.
Yeah, that's the pregnant one. Yeah, where the boyfriend gets killed in the car because the car just morphs into Freddy into his hands.
Yeah, it was like on a motorcycle or motocross dirt bike or something like that.
Yeah, it just merges his hands in. Yeah, it
He's
was
becomes
awesome.
a flaming skeleton, almost like Ghost Rider.
Yeah, good times. There was some great effects in them ones.
And I think that's why a lot of us like those Nightmare on Elm Street movies, is because they used a lot of practical effects to make it fun. And then, of course, in the nightmare sequence, yeah, they'll toss in a little bit of the CGI, but they always made it where it was like these really fun locations, where he took some.
The Freddy video game and everything. Yeah,
Yeah, he's
brilliant.
sitting there just with his little game controller, like,
Playing
bounce,
the,
bounce.
playing, playing the Super Nintendo. Yeah,
I would have
genius,
played the Super Nintendo.
genius. Right before we wind down, then, because I don't want to keep you too long, I'm going to throw a couple of quick fire questions at you. Right?
Okay.
This is where it gets tough. The other parts are easy, right?
Oh boy.
Jaws or Jurassic Park?
Oh, that's cruelty to the human. That's
I'm going back to
cruelty.
this, folks. I'm going
Oh
back to this
God.
one. So this started when I changed jobs a couple of years ago. Myself and one of the lads, Ant, on the team that I was on, had this debate going for weeks and weeks about which one was better, Jaws or Jurassic Park, right? And there was like
Ooh.
140 people that worked on the floor with us, and we got everybody involved. Everybody. People were coming up to us
Can
as we
I
were out
can
and
I say
about.
they're equal? Can I say they're equal?
No, you got to pick one. If you had to
Yeah.
watch one, if you had to watch one for the rest of your life, doesn't have to be every day, but if you had to watch only one of them for the rest of your life, the other one doesn't exist.
If for the hint of comedy, I would go with Jurassic Park on the comedy side because they always had those one-liners that got mixed in there.
Jeff
Yeah,
Goldblum.
for the practical effects, I would have to go with Jaws on that because that was pretty neat seeing how they made that.
Mm, that still didn't pick which one you wanted.
Oh
Nice
gosh.
try on what you did there.
Oh, it was worth a shot. It was worth a shot. I guess I'd
It,
have
it,
to
it, it
survive
is very
with
tough.
Jaws, maybe.
That was
Maybe
my pick.
Jaws.
That was my pick
Because
for the
they
whole thing.
I think the biggest thing is you didn't see the shark right away. Like you knew something was there, versus in Jurassic Park, we automatically knew there were dinosaurs everywhere.
Yeah, like you see the shadow. The most you see of the shark is either the fin or when it bites your man on the boat's leg. Mm,
And then it finally takes out part of their boat later.
yeah, awesome. It's awesome. No, Jaws was my pick, but we were fairly even for like weeks and weeks.
It's hard. It's hard to choose between them because he did well in both of them.
Yeah, two of the best creature features kind of made, and they both
Like
came from the same director.
seeing how many years apart from when he first started versus when you've been experienced for a while.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a tough one, right?
Oh yeah.
Um, give me your top five horror films.
Oh,
They don't necessarily have to be in order, but obviously number one has to be in order. But then the
I
rest of
said the
them,
number one, and this one a lot of people don't know about this film is called The Abandoned. It was filmed over like in Germany or Russia, probably around 2008 or so, where this lady finds out that there was a house left to her from when her dad dies, and she goes overseas and she goes to this place that seems like it's haunted, but she sees herself there and she runs into her long lost brother. And the premise was they were meant to go back to that house to die. That's the whole synopsis is like you're going back to your own death. So that was,
not that one, is
I
it?
think,
With
no,
with the
no,
Chinese
it's
people.
no, it's but yeah, The Abandoned, let me see what her name was. But yeah, it was filmed in like 2008. It was part of like the 8 top midnight film movie selection or
Oh,
something.
oh, I have it here. Yeah, 2006
I think, yeah, yes, 2006.
in Russia. Okay, I'm gonna screenshot that. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, that was a very intriguing film. I saw it years ago, I think on it was either Cinemax or Stars,
Oh, I
and
have seen this movie.
I love that they used a small cast and the way they isolated them. They brought enough of depth to the film without going overboard on the killings. Like you had to have a few deaths, but they did it in a way that it led you to still want to keep watching no matter what. The creepiness of seeing your own self coming for you, and that no matter how many times you hit it, you're bringing your own death closer and closer. And it's just one of those where you knew before you were halfway in, you're like, yeah, they ain't escaping this. It's like
Oh
there's no
yeah, I
way.
have seen it. That scene there, I remembered.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's been a
that was
long time since I've
that
seen it.
that was definitely one of my favorites because I love the twist of that. If you go comedy horror wise on my top five, I think I had like Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I can't help it. It might be cheesy horror, but
Yes.
I have the poster on my wall. I have the video game. I can't help it. That was just a fun horror film with clowns where they just made you hate clowns at the same time. You also remember those masks were from Ernest Scared Stupid. So you always love seeing going like,
Yeah,
okay, that was on a troll. That was on a troll. You love seeing what
yeah.
they used later on for the Ernest
I,
movie.
I love it. It's fantastic. My young, as I said, I was saying, I was watching some classics from my young fella. He keeps asking to watch that, and I'm like, I'm not letting you watch Killer Clowns. I'm not doing it.
I would say another one was An American Werewolf in London, because I love the practical effects they did with designing the werewolf. That, especially in his transformation scene. When
Rick Baker.
I think his name was David. Yeah, David became the werewolf for the first time, where you saw him go full transformation.
Yeah.
And I think it was made in like 1980, if I remember correctly, something like that.
Yeah.
So getting
to
see
filmed
that.
In 80. I think it came out in 81.
So that became one of my favorites as well that I love watching. Another horror comedy style wise, Army of Darkness, Bruce Campbell's one-liners every time. I can't help it.
How about some hot coffee?
Or it's like, this is my boomstick.
Genius. That's the pure another genius. That's the genius of that man.
I love that part. And I think the other one on my list, if that put past 5, if not, it would be a tie for the end. This one, a lot of people would be like, yeah, but I think Mirrors was a fun one for me, because I love how they managed to do all those mirror scenes and try not to have the camera show up, or that they had to edit it out or something, whatever they did, just going through that department store and watching, what the mirrors do. That, I love that part. After that, I was like, yeah, I can't look at mirrors later. But if you want to go for a subtle trade that tied with it, I think was probably the original Child's Play, because for me, I think just when I was telling you earlier, I saw it by accident as a kid. Just the concept of being terrified by your own doll at that point, like, oh, this ain't a normal doll, people.
Nice. That's not a bad list. Someone like, obviously The Abandoned hasn't made it into anyone's list. I've seen it, but I couldn't tell you what happened in it. Just the image.
It's just one of those most people. It's just most people never saw it, and it's just I stumbled across it by accident. But it just, I thought with the way they filmed it, it was done well.
Yeah, the Army of Darkness. So I'm under the banner of the Evil Dead. For me, it goes, the 2013 one is the best one. The Fede Alvarez one.
The remake one?
Yeah. No, it's not a remake, but yeah. It's part of the same universe.
Oh.
It doesn't make any sense because Bruce Campbell's car's in it and all, but it's part of the world. And then you've got, for me, it'll go 2013, Evil Dead Rise, Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead 1, and Army of Darkness at the end. But Army of Darkness is the one that I'll watch the easiest. And the only reason I put it at the end is because it absolutely has nothing to do with.
The second one I watched because the hand, when his hand gets possessed, and
it's hilarious.
Did you ever watch the TV series?
Yeah, I don't know if I ever finished it. I definitely watched 2.5 seasons of it.
The other part I was going to mention about the Evil Dead 2, I saw this today actually. Supposedly the hand possessed scene, they had worked on a short film about like in 1978, 1979 of a possessed hamburger helper hand. They were making like a little parody of it. And so they kind of brought that into the Evil Dead 2 for the hand inspiration. So when they did a comparison of the two videos above each other, it was hilarious watching the hamburger helper hand go crazy and then watch his Bruce Campbell's hand, sneaking away behind him every time. You're just like, what's that moving?
Yeah, but like they were very good. And Sam Raimi done a hell of a job with the three of them. And I'm very intrigued now to see Evil Dead Born later on in the year.
Do you think the car is going to return? Because he always manages to try to sneak his car in somewhere, or Freddy Krueger's hand as well. I've noticed.
It didn't make it into. It didn't make it into Rise.
It made it into one of the Spider-Man films, if I remember correctly, though.
It's made it into all nearly all of Sam Raimi's films. It's in Drag Me to Hell. I think it's in all of his films.
That was an unfair ending to Drag Me to Hell. That was. I was like, man, she got hit hard.
No, it wasn't. She was an arsehole. She tried to fuck her boyfriend over. Fuck her.
She should have been careful with that button.
Yeah, fuck her. Everyone says that. Oh, it was a harsh ending. It wasn't. She was an arsehole. She deserved everything she got. She tried to fuck her boyfriend over just to save her own self. Go fuck herself. She can die.
I mean, she was trying to keep herself alive.
She could have given the button to anybody, but tried to screw her boyfriend over.
Maybe she hated his family. That's my
So
only guess.
give it to one of them.
Like Christmas present.
I enjoyed that movie. Actually, dragged me to hell.
I think the scene that got me, that had me laughing, was the goat scene where the guy gets possessed when they were, with the goat and the spirit was jumping. Yep.
The Lamia.
Yep.
The one that got me. I
That,
went to see that. I went to see that in the cinema, and I think it's 2006. So I must have been 15, maybe. Gone to see that in the cinema. And you know the bit when she's fighting the old lady in the car and her teeth fall out and she starts numbing on her chin.
but I
Like,
think it was the only other horror film I thought that ever had a slightly unfair ending was Smile, where you knew they were going to die no matter what at the very end. You knew it was
so
coming.
I actually didn't see Smile up until last year because I wanted to watch the second one. Smile 1 was brilliant. Wasn't a fan of Smile 2, and I don't know where everyone goes. Everyone was
The
telling me
second
that she should have been Oscar
this
nominated. I was like, will you ever stop?
the second film was good, but it wasn't as good as the first one because as much as Naomi Scott did really well at her character, I hated her character so much that I wanted that character to die. And
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, she can go. I'm like, she's
People
always
telling
yelling at
me
everybody.
people telling me that she should have been Oscar nominated. And I was like, will you ever stop? I mean, if anybody in that film was getting Oscar nominated, it would have been Ray Nicholson.
But yeah, it was sad. I was rooting for her to die at the end. I couldn't help it. I was just like, I'm done with her. I'm like, she can go.
I knew I wasn't going to like her character from the start anyway. But yeah, there's certain characters you root for to die in films. She was
Like the
one.
kid in like that unfortunately I know it's wrong, but the kid in the newest Final Destination movie, everybody in the theater was cheering when that brat went. If you
Oh
ever
yeah,
saw the newest one, the
yeah,
Penny Child is how we nicknamed him, the Penny
yeah.
Child.
Fucking dickhead.
The minute
No,
he took that and we saw what happened, everybody in the theater was like, yes, and I was like, this is so wrong. Let's cheer this on.
do you know who else is another one? Franklin, the brother from the original Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
My Jesus, people are like, you can't wish for him to die. He's in a wheelchair. I like, I don't care. He's a cunt.
Sometimes there's that character where you're just like, sorry, they're doing so well.
Oh,
We hate him enough that they have to go.
the kid from the Babadook.
Yep.
But yeah, there's a few of them.
And
But Sky Rain was one of them for me. I just could not get into that character.
I felt she was just too mean to everybody. She was always screaming and yelling at people, and I was like, and
No,
they want me to root for
it
her?
makes sense for the character. She's obviously that warped in her own brain. That thing. And I thought she played the character very well. But yeah, for me, it was a no go. I was like, fuck that. I'm done.
Supposedly they're making a Smile 3, so it's supposed to be a continuation of that end scene.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's
I'll
going to be
watch it.
interesting how they do that.
I will watch it. No doubt about it. I'll watch it, but no more. After that, then I'll be done.
It's the same in the Final Destination movies. There's certain characters you root that they're killed off. You're just waiting. You're
I
like,
legitimately,
okay, that's coming.
apart from that kid, there hasn't been many that I wanted to die in those films. Like I know they're going to die. I know they're all going to go at some stage because it's the way the film's going to play out. But yeah, apart from that kid, there hasn't been many where I'm like, oh, you really, really gonna get it. Even Sean
That
William
kid,
Scott, like, he was a happy-go-lucky fucking dope.
that that was different seeing him just as like you said, a happy-go-lucky dope, but it's just he dies on you, and you're like, well, that's not fair.
Yeah, but no, I actually had Jeffrey Reddick on the show a couple of years ago,
Oh,
who
cool.
created Final Destination.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's it. I've had some good guests on now. I must say, I've been lucky with some of the ones that I've gotten. So, yeah, and then the last question, right before we finish up, give me your top 5 John Carpenter films. Right now, there's a caveat to this one, right? If you don't mention the right film in this 5, this episode disappears.
Oh, oh boy. Oh, this is a tough one. Well, I know this one gets everybody, but of course his very first Halloween film. I can't help it because the way they managed to do that on a low budget, I
That's
gotta
fine.
get props for that.
Did you know Robert
Um,
Englund had a big part in that?
I did not know that.
He's the guy who filled up the bags of leaves that he was throwing around the place.
Oh, that
But
makes sense now.
whilst he was helping out on that set, he told his roommate about a certain Star Wars film that was looking for a casting. Uh, do you know who his roommate was?
Oh God, John Carpenter.
No,
I'm
he
just
told his
taking a guess.
no, he told his so Robert Englund told his roommate about Star Wars that was looking for a role to be cast.
Harrison Ford.
Nope,
Maybe?
Mark Hamill.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
So Robert Englund had a hand in us getting the Luke Skywalker we got.
Oh, so let's see here. Another John Carpenter. The Thing. I
Okay.
actually got to watch that for the first time. I think last year. Actually, it just had been so far down on my list that I never had a chance to see it.
Oh my god, it's
And
so good. It's the
the
best
puppetry
it's the
work.
best remake in any genre ever.
Well, and the crazy part is most people don't realize, like in the very beginning of the film, they're giving they're giving the ending to you right there, where they're like that dog, it's like the dog is your warning. It's like you gotta know. Another one,
You've
another
got
one.
three more to get a certain film, otherwise we'll put the
Big Trouble in
slandering
Little
name on it.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Okay, you got it in that one.
Kurt
That's my
Russell, man, I
that's my
can't
favorite
help
movie
it.
of all time.
Kurt Russell, he's going in there and you got King Control, everything. That film was crazy fun. That
It's
was one of
all
my
in the
favorites.
reflexes, baby.
And a lot of people surprisingly have never seen that one, but it was definitely one of the favorite ones of Kurt Russell that he's ever done.
It's my favorite movie of all time. All time.
And so yeah, when people think about that, they're like, that was him. I was like, yeah, like Kurt Russell, man, come on, this is around his Overboard years and everything.
That's Jack Burton.
Yeah. So that was definitely one of my favorites. I think the Fog was a pretty fun one as well because I think bringing in like where you have something that's coming out of the water at you, and it's not like your typical like crazy alligator killer type thing. It's actually got like a hidden backstory to it. That was a pretty fun one as well.
The cast for that was brilliant as well. Obviously, you've got Jamie Lee Curtis and Janet Leigh, and then you've got the great Tom Atkins in there as well.
Yeah. Oh God. This is where it gets hard because he's got a couple other good films. Oh, he had another vampire film, and for some reason my mind just went blank on the name. Had James Woods in it. Yes. He also wasn't Escape from New York was another one because he had Kurt Russell again. Kurt Russell was always did a lot of films with him.
7 of them.
I would have to say definitely the two main ones of his I always loved was definitely The Thing and Big Trouble in Little China. Big Trouble in Little China.
It's the goat of all goat movies. See, Corey. Ashley got it.
I was so used to him doing just straight horror films, so seeing Big Trouble in Little China was a definite different one.
Yeah. Well, I'll allow the episode to come out now, seeing as you got the right answer in there.
Safe.
But actually, it's been a pleasure to have you on. Absolutely, I'd love to have you back if you want to come back on and just talk horror. At some stage.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah. What a movie! What a movie! I'm actually gonna meet the Cheeto brothers now in April.
Are they finally ever going to get that sequel that keeps bouncing back and forth? They tried for like 30 years to get that sequel out.
I mean, Rotten Tomatoes from Outer Space got a sequel. Or Killer Tomatoes from Outer Space, or whatever it's called.
I think was it called just Killer Tomatoes? Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yeah,
Was
that
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 one?
got a sequel, I'm pretty sure.
It's like, why couldn't they give it a sequel?
I don't know if it even needs a sequel, but it's awesome.
I think if they did a sequel, I kind of think for some reason somebody else would try to remake it. That is my guess.
Yeah, it'd be
And
a
they would
hard
probably
reboot.
try to make it like extra scary or something, and I think that would kill the overall theme of the movie.
As seen with It the Clown.
Because and that was like, as much as Skarsgård is so well playing the new Pennywise and the scarier one, I loved Tim Curry in the first one. I got to meet him twice, and when talking to him about the clown, the two different takes are so extreme, and who's scary and who's not. And I was like, Tim gives it
See,
that comedic scary edge.
it was supposed to be the Tim Curry way, though. Do you know what I mean? Obviously they done more effects for Bill, and a lot of it was done with CGI. So it was what it was. Like, I was never a fan, but I've rewatched them with a different mindset, and they're good. I'll give them that. They're probably better than the original one, bar the clown.
Oh, he's a clown.
And
The book
that's
is
the
pretty
big.
crazy.
Yeah, there's that whole 2 chapters in the book that I was glad was left out about films.
The baby giving the baby feeding the baby to the clown. I was like, yeah, that would have been too much for the audience. I was like,
That's
there's a reason that was
that's
left
not the
out.
bit that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the bit that happens after they kill the clown as kids.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm glad that got left out.
But
But sure, look,
so different
that's
seeing them without their clown makeup when you're talking to them. When I spoke to Tim, it was so different looking at him. And he's like, I don't like clowns. It's
you just
like it
look at him and
makes
be like,
sense.
you're Nigel Thunberry.
I remember talking about the Nigel voice with
Yeah. No, but what I'm gonna do is actually, I think I'm gonna leave it there because it's running late into the evening now. But we'll definitely catch up and do another episode. Maybe
oh,
in a couple of months down the line. Maybe when that Grim Reaper one's done, we might realign, or maybe even before then if it's too long before that's done.
oh yeah,
Um,
I definitely had a blast.
yeah. And then, as I said, anytime you want to come on, even if you wanted to pick a movie to break down, I'll watch it, and then we'll
Okay,
do it.
yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Um, but for now, folks, I'm gonna leave this the way I finish every single Friday night. In the words of the great George A. Romero, ladies and gentlemen, stay scared.